Step right up, it's time to hear the cleverest show of the year. AI Catchup, brighter tone, every week in your living room.
Welcome, everybody, to the AI Catchup. Guys, great to see you.
Hey, guys.
Great to see you too, Brad.
Yeah, so for everyone watching, this is our first episode of the AI Catchup, and this is the AI Catchup team. I'm Brad Rochefort. We've got with us Michael Knopfsinger. Hi, Michael.
Hey, what's up, Brad?
We've got David Layton here. Hey, David.
Hey, Brad. Great to see you.
We've got Brooks Woods. Brooks, what's happening?
Good to see you, Brad.
Good to see you. And Harvey Castro.
Hey, from Germany.
Harvey Castro is live from Germany for this episode. The plan with the AI Catch-Up is to recognize and help the communities out there who have seen artificial intelligence software and they've said, how can I catch up? It seems like it's a moving train. We've talked for so long in the news media, in social media, and on calls and chats like this about how AI software is going to be transformational. And then the question is, how do I catch up? And how do I catch up in a way that's going to help not just me, but my organization? A lot of the people in our audience are leaders of learning and development or human resources of teams of 50, 100, 250 or more people. And they've got all of these different people with all these different knowledge points. And we've developed some systems to help people catch up on artificial intelligence. David, last night, or on Monday night rather, we talked about Lisa George had the list of AI softwares. How many softwares were on that list?
I want to say she had 50. She was building a list of 50. And I know we started that, Brad, early as we started doing the think tanks and things a few years ago. And then it was just like, why bother? Because everything changed every week and there were so many new things.
Yeah.
I mean, many of the categories have kind of settled down now, or maybe there's 2 or 3 to choose from, but there are new things that will surprise everybody. So I'm excited to do this.
Harvey, you use AI software all the time. How many different AI softwares do you use on average? You're known globally as Dr. GPT.
Yeah, that's a good question. God, I don't know, to be honest. I need to actually go back and look. I think it's at the end of the day, just like a doctor uses a stethoscope for certain things, I use AI depending on what the task at hand. With that said, I'm really using ChatGPT a lot. But with that said, we'll go over different tools. And depending on what you're trying to work on, you'll pick that tool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of different tools. Brooks or Michael, do you have even a ballpark of how many tools you've learned or use?
Probably over 100. I've probably used over 100, learned thoroughly. I find that things are changing so fast that sometimes I'll be using something for a while and then I'll switch to something else. And that might be something that a lot of people are experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used at least over 100 tools, and I probably use at least 20 different tools every day. I can't imagine if these things were taken away from me, what it would be like. It'd be terrifying, I think, to not have these anymore.
Right.
So I think to sum up this part of the show, we can all agree AI is moving fast, but this show is going to help teams catch up. That's the first thing. We called it the catch up because we're going to help teams catch up. We're going to help you act smart, and we're going to lead you forward. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to walk you through what we call the transformation ladder, which Brooks, I'm going to share my screen for 1 second. We might show this again, but for now, we'll just show the basic version of this. It's a philosophy on the way teams can climb together into artificial intelligence. And let me know, Brooks, when that screen is live.
There we go. It's up there now.
Great. So you can see I've made this on Canva, which is a software that uses artificial intelligence. They're really easy to use, these tools, once you get caught up on them. This foundational ladder helps you understand the way to walk through any process. It starts with the words, and words are foundational. When everyone on your team uses the same words the same way, you can have conversations. It is the basics. It is the very first place any team should gather. So there's training on the words we use because so many of us read on social media where different people use the same words in different ways. I know people say large language models, they say AI agents, they say ChatGPT when they mean a search engine with some artificial intelligence or with some machine learning. There are so many different terms. And the benefit of the AI Catchup, along with the teachings that Brooks Wood offers, is that foundation on the words. And when you understand the words, your team can get into the rules. Now, the rules is at the operation level. The operation level is having what they call AI governance. These are meetings that you have internally with people on your team that are stakeholders that say, here's how our team is going to use these tools. Are we allowed to use things with people's names? Are we allowed to use people's financial information? Are we allowed to use critical data or private data? The rules matter. The rules matter at the legal level. The rules matter at the financial level. The rules matter at the client level. And so when you have the words, you can have the conversation about rules together. Then we move up into the tools. The tools are going to be your off-the-shelf tools that cost $10 or $15 or $20 per person. And we can climb further, right? We can climb up into the technical stacks. We can climb up into the executive beliefs, the philosophies that the team has, or what you might call reputational proof, which is that our company is an AI forward company. And by using our company, you know that you're getting something that's technically forward. But it really starts with the words, the rules, and then the tools. And Brooks, you teach these things.
Yes, and it's really important to have good AI literacy. And I think the message here is that it's not too late to learn these. You're not going to be left behind because they're changing so rapidly that just having an idea of what you can and can't do with these things. And then the other half of it is from a corporate perspective, is that there is a shadow IT problem. That is people bringing these tools into your organization. And it's better to start learning how to adopt them now versus continuing to have others bring these into your organization and potentially, leaking information that might be private or intellectual property and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's very true that some companies face a financial challenge if there is unintentional misuse of the tools. I would guess that the bigger financial issue is that teams feel overwhelmed, and then the entire team is out of the artificial intelligence software loop, right? And someone, I think it was Sani, who said that we're not AI experts, we're AI software experts. AI, the people with a mainframe and a database and the computer code. The group of us here are AI software experts. We're able to bridge that difference between human resources and the technical world of software and say, here's how your teams use the software that's both easy to learn and right for your company in a way that doesn't have to take millions of dollars. Harvey, as a doctor, can you speak to the overwhelm you've heard people talk about? Like, are people telling you, I'm overwhelmed with AI? Do you ever hear that?
Oh, yeah. And the beautiful part right now is people are doctors, let's say in my profession, but to speak another language, let's call it the AI language, they don't. And so my favorite phrase is, you don't know what you don't know. Case in point, if I know the principles of AI or I understand what we're going to go over, then I could apply it into my field. I'll give you a real example. I'm in Germany right now. I normally go to conferences and I record them, and then I use AI to transcribe them. But I'm in Germany. I don't speak German. So what I'm doing is I'm transcribing it and in real time seeing it in English. And now I'm actually enjoying the conference. And then, but what I'm getting at is the following. Use the tools that you're going to learn. It's like riding a bike and you can apply it. And then the last thing I really want to emphasize is use your creativity, how you see the world, and apply it to the stuff that we're teaching you. And you're going to come out with your own unique output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like being in the future from the 20th century vision of the future, that you can go to another country, everyone's speaking a different language, and you can use a translator in the moment, because in almost any large organization, eventually you send someone to a non-English speaking country, or you send a non-English speaking person to your organization or company or country, and that translation is just one of literally thousands of tools that are great to use. So the idea with the AI Catchup, as we go week by week, episode by episode, tool by tool, is to understand that there's overwhelm and people might be out of the loop, or there might be people on your team that are out of the loop. And we're going to highlight one high value tool. And in 30 minutes, we're going to explain how to enter that tool, what it might do for you, how it's going to feel in the organization. As a professional communicator, I've learned there's different languages people speak. It's not always pure knowledge. So one element of the catch up is that we're going to inform you. Here's what it is. But there's also the ways that you live with it, right? How do I test drive it? How do I integrate it into my team? Because those are different things. Now that I know about it and I know what it can do, how does it fit in with my group? All right. What might happen? And then how does it feel? Because when you have large organizations with 50, 150, 250 or more people, the social impact matters at a broader scale. The time gained or time lost in the communications of, do you like this tool? Is it working for you? It doesn't feel good, or it does feel good. Those are the kinds of things we're aiming on the catch up to show, is that if you approach AI software with the mindset that people can enjoy using it, that it can be an amplifier of the team, that you can keep your hires, you can keep your staff, and you can create a hiring policy that includes an AI forward mindset, we're geared up to educate and work with teams who are of the mindset to keep everyone that they have employed and employ more people using AI software. David, you're nodding your head there.
Yes, because I agree with many things that were said. First of all, each person needs to understand it for themselves and for the team. And what Brooks made the comment about privacy and some of the security issues, Michael and I were just up at the RSA conference yesterday. So much talk of AI and governance and opportunity, and just how do you educate the whole company. So I think that, yes, teams and incorporating your company, everybody just elevating themselves, that's what we're here to do. And I think as we've done these think tanks that have been great, and people jump in at different levels, some people may find themselves lost. I think that's what we're committed to, is to bring wherever they are from 0 to 10, how do we help them elevate and learn new things? Because I think, right, even nowadays, so many new things are coming out, and each person brings in their individual human creativity that can then create with AI.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things about AI software is how fast or how quick things can happen. You watch someone on a YouTube video or in a Zoom call or beside you in your office, and someone says, I can do that with AI. Often what happens is you learn from someone who's very comfortable with the tool. In the case of ChatGPT, maybe they've been using it for 2 or 2.5 years. And usually what happens is, or often what happens is, people zoom through it very quickly. They click on 5 things. You're not always watching what they click. They use a shorthand of the keystrokes. And even though you're aware that these tools can get you somewhere wonderful quickly, it's always tough to say, could you go through this step by step really slowly? Because I'm new. I'm not unintelligent. I'm very educated. I've used software for decades. I just don't know this set of softwares. And I think that's what we're aiming to do with the catch-up, is to very respectfully guide groups through that entry and say, like, you can catch up very quickly. You just need someone to very slowly show you, these are the 5 steps I took to get there, and you'll get the rest. I often tell people, you'll get the rest. But here, we're going to catch you up because, like we said, there are 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 different tools, and people start just naming them. Here's a look at the brain juice AI tools that we've discussed: ChatGPT, Perplexity, Llama, Gemini, Claude, Grok, Amazon, Replit, Midjourney, DALL-E, Firefly from Adobe. There's Kriya, there's Kling, there's Veo from Google, there's Luma, there's Gamma, there's Manus, there's GenSpark, there's 11 Labs, there's Descript, there's Udio. Like, we could name these tools on and on and on. And I think, in fact, there needs to be some cleanup on this tool, but that's a great list just to say, like, David, was that you sharing that, or Brooks?
That was me that was sharing that. I just pulled it up.
Thanks, Brooks. That's good. That's one of the documents in our community that we have, just to say, like, who's using what tool, does it have a free trial, etc. And on the catch-up, we appreciate all of the people who are exceptional at what they do, but they have not spent 4 hours on those 40 tools, because that's like spending 4 weeks of the last 6 months just on those tools. So what we're happy to do here at the catch-up is walk you through the process of going, I can learn this tool. I can bring this to a team meeting. I can say, guys, I learned the words inside this tool. And I can see how it fits inside the rules that we've created. We've got AI governance in our organization, and say, as long as it doesn't break these rules, we can have this tool. And whether we give it to one internal team or a set of team leaders or broadly across the entire ecosystem, whether that's 100 seats or 200 seats inside your organization or more, you can say, I know this tool can achieve something, and what it can achieve might save us 6 figures. And what it might cost is a fraction of that. And the risk is near zero. Because even if another software comes out, the evolution of using these softwares is very, very linear. People who use Photoshop have used Photoshop for decades. And when they find themselves using a new photo editing tool, the principles are largely the same. I'm going to cut and paste. I'm going to copy. I'm going to change the shape. I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change the font. And when that turns into graphic design, things that used to cost teams not just money, but time. It used to take weeks and weeks with the graphic designer to go through iterations until you got something that was acceptable. I think with AI software, you can do that. Yes, in the creative area, you can take something, create it internally, and then say, I'm going to bring this to my finishing team, but I'm going to bring it to them 3 days from now. And I'm going to shave off the first 3 months of our timeline. It's often the fact that you want to make money off of the output. And if you can start making money off the output earlier, that's the value of the tool. Whether you continue to use your professional copywriters, which you should, or your professional graphic designers, which you should, or your professional video, which you should, that's up to you. Having these artificial intelligence tools that people say, oh, it doesn't look great. You're like, that's not the point. The point is that in a 3-day sprint with your team, you got 90% of the way there. And then you brought that in and you said, here's our vision. We spend $100 on one tool and a weekend. I mean, does that ring true to you guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that we have this worry that AI is going to take everybody's jobs, but I think what it's going to do is just make us all 10 times more efficient. And of course, that's going to raise our level that we need to be 10 times, had 10 times more output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think similarly, when people started using PCs and computers and using the web, right? It's hard for us to imagine now we wouldn't use those tools or hire people that didn't understand those. And that's really a very similar thing that's happening now.
Mm-hmm. Michael, how have you been using artificial intelligence? Because when I talk to you're doing things in the tens of thousands of this. Like the numbers that I hear you say are tremendous.
So I'm using all the major LLMs. I love being able to just ingest documents into them and then be able to analyze them rapidly. And I've been doing a lot of that. I'll do document generation very fast, image generation very fast. Essentially just speeding up the process. As you said, getting 90% of the way there, 95% of the way there, but doing it in 5% of the time. Just doing it so much faster and becoming like a force of nature by myself, getting things done in a way that a large team could have gotten done a long time ago, but now individuals or small teams can get done, and they can get it done faster and better. So it really is a force multiplier. You want to 10x your output, 100x your output. It's just, and it's moving very fast. So but the beautiful thing about it is that, as you said, because of the way it's moving fast and new people, new teams, new organizations, they're coming up with new tools and they're releasing them. And then all the major players keep improving what they're doing. You getting caught up is a matter of just listening to some folks and then getting started. It's a very simple process. How they get implemented in large organizations, I guess the first starting point is to really just start testing and playing around with stuff, and then just becoming familiar with some things. So anyway, I do think that there's a lot of room for growth for a lot of folks, and there's a lot of opportunity to just wade in, and then the rush happens very fast. You can move very fast and improve very fast as well.
what has me excited about the catch up is our commitment as a group, along with Dr. Harvey, who's in Germany at his conference. What has me excited about the catch up is our commitment to guide people through this process of catching up and climbing the ladder from the words to the rules to the tools. One of the things I found is when you're not consistently learning from the same person, you're constantly learning the basics in different language. And it feels like this person's smarter, then this person's smarter, then this person's smarter. We gathered a great team of 5 very smart people. And as we bring on guests and special appearances, we'll amplify that. The benefit I feel of the catch up, what got me excited to participate in this every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern live, is that we'll be gathering the same group of people and guiding them together. So you're gonna all catch up together on these tools so that you're not gonna constantly be getting the introduction language from a bunch of different sources. And it feels like you got something new when really you just heard it rehashed. So as software evolves, there's also the techniques that evolve. Some of you guys know on this call that about a month ago, I hosted the Conversational AI Conference in Toronto, the 2-day conference. And one of the things I learned from the speakers there was the sprint method. And the sprint method is not new, right? Gathering your team in the same room and saying with a large whiteboard, here's how we're going to solve this problem. Many of you say that's great, I get that. What this team from this example did, speakers on the stage showed slides and footage of how they did this. They got a small team together, they got a little bit of budget, and they said, if we can save money with this 3-day sprint or 5-day sprint and this little bit of budget, if we can save money, can we have some of that budget to do this again? So what they ended up doing was they self-funded their AI internal team. They said, hey, we saved $50,000 with this. Let's take half of that and do it again. So it's found money, it's saved money, and then they said, then we used that and grew the meeting a little bit and had all these people come in and say, in the same room, you're going to overcome the AI challenge when people say, oh, I feel isolated, I feel alone. Well, you don't have to be. They just went to the boardroom. They got the whiteboard. They also used AI software. They used it as a team. They had the marker on the board and they said, here's what the solution could look like. They gathered the data, they gathered the input, they gathered the voices, and then they said, here's what AI could do together. It was their own team, their own language, their own rules, and the tools that they'd approved of, and the metrics that they were looking to hit. So when you broaden your mind, you say, certainly there have been people in large organizations that have put up some kind of roadblock or barrier and said, we're not going to use AI. They're the last adopters. And eventually someone internally says, guys, this is like not using a cell phone or not using email or not using the internet. Through the lens of time, there were good reasons to not use some of those things in 1995 or 6 or 7. But in 2025, you couldn't fathom someone attempting to do business without email communication, an internet connection, or a mobile device. That's just not practical in today's business. And as technical professionals, the group of us, I think I speak for us when I say we see artificial intelligence software as a parallel to the internet or to social media or to a cell phone device. It is something that will evolve and change, but it will be, I mean, does anyone see anyone's overtaking this or sidelining AI software?
I don't.
It's going to be ubiquitous. It's going to permeate everything. You have the Internet of Things, you have robotics. Once AI goes multimodal, where it has different sensory inputs, vision, the ability to hear. We could talk about taste and touch or smell, but yeah, once it goes multimodal, it's going to be in everything. Yeah. So,
and I think it's so embedded at this point. I just want to share this really fast, and we can maybe talk through it. This is ChatGPT decided to make some changes. It was earlier, maybe it was last week, on the 22nd, and then within days they started rolling it back to the point where people were not liking the personality that they gave it. They immediately rolled it back. To the point where they have to have a full-on blog post just to discuss it, right? Like, it was being accused of being too agreeable with you and just telling you what you want to hear. And we would have never heard of things like this before, but now it's just so ingrained and people are using it so much, and even such a small population is using it that there's already outcries for making sure that we're, not taking away the tools that we've been given or changing them just irrationally, or making sure that they give us the right information that we're after.
Yeah,
Yes.
there was I think that part of the reason they rolled it back is because there was edge cases that were turning into memes on the internet that were, I don't know, like there was somebody that tried to role play as some famous or infamous world leaders, and then they said a bunch of stuff about the terrible things they did, and then ChatGPT puffed them up as in like they're a great person. So I think that they're trying to reduce the amount of yeah.
I feel like those stories reach headlines, and those headlines reach audiences, and that very knee-jerk reaction thought is what prevents a lot of great organizations from using great software, is this belief. I saw recently a post that said, as early as the dawn of electricity, so we're going back more than 120 years to like the Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla days, there were similar rumors about ghosts inside electricity, which you're through the lens of time, you're looking back snickering, going, oh my goodness, electricity is the boon of the world. Everybody who's using electricity is grateful for electronic devices that help our lives. So the same can be said of artificial intelligence. Part of the news cycle is to craft this doom and gloom story every 20th story because it gets eyeballs, it gets traction. At the Catch-Up, we want to catch people up on the number of organizations that are using this. David, when we were at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January, we sat with Dr. Harvey, who just left the call because he's in Germany. He was on stage with the expert from Siemens and the head of R&D from Honda. And if you recall what the head of Honda said about AI, do you remember how much she was using AI? The head of Honda Automobile.
I don't remember her exact quote, so help me with that, Brad.
Well, I don't remember the quote either. It was more just that she was all in on it.
I mean, it's touching everything, right? And I think that's the point to what we're doing. Every title, every industry, you can make yourself more valuable to whatever you're doing and make things easier. So I think, too, we said technical people, we've mentioned several times. I think the great thing is you don't have to be a technical person. You can use different AI tools for different things. And it's not too late to catch up now, especially now that you found the show, and then we have the different learning journeys, right? With the classes that we're launching with Brooks, and him and Harvey leading those, and the live sessions we have, just so people can kind of come in and bring their use cases and get caught up very quickly.
Yeah. I think it's one thing to know these tools exist. It's another thing to get someone who will very patiently guide you through what it actually can do, and where you go to click on it and say, here's how you get people started. Once you get the right people in the room, the creativity flourishes. It comes in unexpected ways. Time savings, money savings, the expansion of ideas, the ease of expressing yourself. Once your competitors have these abilities, it's almost unfathomable to not catch up. And I think that's the benefit of the Catch-Up, is this is the place for you to catch up on AI software, to catch up on the technology that the modern business world and the modern creative world are using on a minute-to-minute basis. I'm very excited to be part of this live-to-air 30-minute show Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern with myself, Brad Rochefort, with Michael Nossinger, David Layton, Brooks Wood, and Harvey Castro.
Thanks, everyone, for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Step right up, it's time to hear the cleverest show of the year. AI Catchup, brighter tone, every week in your living room.